In 1999, you guys released the album Give Yourself a Hand. I wanted to bring this up because this has a special place in my heart. So in 1999, I was 14, and there's three singles. It's a top 15 album, but the lead single, Keep a Lid on Things. So this was a massive top 10 hit in Canada. And I was obsessed with this at 14. Anytime it came on the radio, I would crank it up. I'd be waiting for it to play on the radio. This is long before like the digital, stuff and the downloading and iTunes and all that stuff. So I'd wait for it on radio. And I had this album as well. And I'd never heard anything like it before. Was there a fear releasing a song that was so different than everything else? So this is even from a band that was known for being different. This song was just very unique.
Well, it was a bit of an evolution there because Greg Wells worked on that album, and Greg Wells brought a lot of Greg Wells to the album, and I think the good thing about that was that he was able to take the band and kind of move us a little bit more left, rather than creating another album that sounds like all the other albums. And if you look at if you look at the first four albums in particular, they're very different records all the way through. And so Greg brought a sense like the whole loop thing that happens in there, and then that sort of like groovy backbeat. He brought that essence to the way things felt. And I think he pushed Brad in a bit of a different direction, rather than just, it's not just about the bass baritone, but he all of a sudden he gave Brad like a lot of attitude, in particular that song, right? Keep a Lid on Things. Like he really brought a lot of attitude to it. Whereas, the others might have been a little bit more about melody. That album in general was more about attitude and what he brought to it. So I think I was a little worried at the time, for the mere fact that was a direction that a lot of bands were going in, like just that sort of the loopy kind of feel. And I was worried that we might be perceived as jumping on the bandwagon. But I think Greg brought so much more to it that we got away from that, because it and maybe a combination between what Greg brought and the attitude that Brad was having, right? So for a lot of Crash Test Dummy fans, it was like, "Ooh, okay, well this is Brad on Sizzle," right? As opposed to Brad in the opera. Now we got Brad on Sizzle here, and we got the band really focusing in on a like a swingy, loopy groove, as opposed to sort of a pop rock sensibility. I think it didn't sound like bandwagoning at the time. You know what? 3 months later, though, maybe because every band went in that direction at that time. So we were like, maybe right, the timing was good, and we were able to save it a little bit, I think. But again, Greg just brought something so special to that record.
So the Times described the album as the best music of their career, an album of rare wit and vitality.